a young man who I've known since I was 7 years old named Albert Gore, who became Vice President of the United States, but was my next-door neighbor. I believed in him. He was an amateur scientist and a very fine and sweet man. In fact, every time I mention his name to Sai Baba, he goes, "Good company." So he became a senator, and senators can get a tremendous amount of money. The congressmen have more trouble. He wanted to do a study with all these amateur scientists like himself about this biosphere situation. This is 20 years ago. And he called me up to the Senate's office building 20 years ago, after years of scientific study with various people he'd been in contact with around the world. And he showed me a little slideshow for 3 hours because he had access to NASA and all the computers the government could give him and so forth. He said, "I can't believe what's happening. The biosphere is collapsing." He said, because of the population on the planet, industrial farming has become a massive industry, and we dump trillions of tons of poisons on the earth every day to get good yields because that's good business. But we're poisoning the underground water system, and by about 2020, the entire underground water system is going to be soiled where we can't even grow plants anymore, and we're going to have a food crisis. He said also, there's something called ozone in these chemicals that's in air conditioners and aerosol cans and all this, and they're magnetically charged, and they're pulled by magnetism to the North and South Pole, and they're cutting a hole through something called the ozone, and this allows ultraviolet light to come in, the polar caps are going to melt. And the seas will rise. Every city that's on the coast will be uninhabitable. And because they're all built on landfills, there'll be massive pandemics. And the economic systems, because they're all on coastal cities, which they've always been, New York, London, and so forth, they'll be destroyed. He said also we have something called global warming, which means that everything that is made, this wonderful desk, this piece of plastic, everything that you see in front of you is made with electricity. And that means we have to burn coal and oil to make these things, but it's causing a greenhouse effect, and it's making the seas rise 2% centigrade. Once it goes 2% centigrade, then the entire weather patterns, which are totally guided by the temperature of the oceans, will change. And the growing seasons all over this planet will change to the point where we cannot feed the people. He said, we've poisoned the air, causing all kinds of carcinogenics and all kinds of diseases, and all kinds of things will happen, and the biosphere is collapsing. We have caused this. God hasn't caused this. We've caused this to happen. The Greeks and the Romans believed that the earth was a goddess Gaia, and that she is, and as beautiful as she is, she must be a goddess, and that we're destroying her. And so she must eject us. Just like an antibiotic, we are the thing that's destroying her. We must be ejected. The species that is the most endangered on this planet is man. And it's not because of what God has done, it's because of what we have done. And so, in fear, I ran to my beautiful friend, my best friend, my only friend, who has more humor and lightness and love. He's your friend. He's your only friend. He's your best friend. Keep it light, man. This guy is light. He's an enlightened being. They come to help us, to enlighten us, to guide us, and they come basically to vibrate on the planet. So I ran to him, and I said, "Is it true? Is it true?" He said, "Yes, it's true." He said, "God is allowing mankind to destroy the earth. Only when mankind is brought to his knees will he turn towards God. I left that room in total and complete joy. Because what that meant is that the golden age, which has been promised for 30,000 years, is about to occur. And there's no greater time to be incarnated than right now. This is the time to be here. We will see the change come. Every civilization on the planet, everything on the planet, all life on the planet, and we're so self-involved with our nonsense. We don't even look at history or care about anything but our own little silly involvements. Because at this time, the mind-body experience is overstimulated. There's no place for God. The delusion of life, the Maya of life, is incredible. We have something called an ego. It's an essential part of the mind-body experience. It has 5 best friends. So it has total control over you, especially if everything around you is associated to those 5 friends. They're called the 5 senses. You wake up in the morning, you see, you touch, you smell, you taste, you hear. Your little mind starts twirling, and you think you're a human being. The Swami has said you're a walking temple. That which has never been born never dies. You can't be soiled, you can't be hurt, you can't be damaged, you can't be anything. I know. He brought me back from the dead. He took me to the other side. You all know the stories. Sai Baba is a Zen master. A Zen master like all of them. How can he change you? He takes you there. He makes all the good people act bad. He makes all the bad people act good. He takes out of you what needs to be changed, and he pulls it out, and you're there for 5 or 6 days. Everything, every negative emotion comes out of you, and how can he change you unless he pulls out of you and makes you face what it is that you have to change? This is Zen master, man. It's unique. It's the only thing you can relate to, because you cannot relate to the cosmic form. And there's only one testament that all of you who have been there and have known and are seekers can say. There's only one thing that can make you believe in Sai Baba, because you do not know who he is. It's beyond you completely, and me. But we can all testify to one thing. The real Leela to talk about is transformation. Everyone in this room, everyone at that ashram, everyone that has experienced his orbit anywhere in the world has a story about transformation. He changed you. He made you think differently. He brought out the bad so you could see it and see what you needed changed. If you were bad, he brought out the good and showed you could be good. He transformed you. That's the only way you can know him. Because it's not meant to see the cosmic body, but the